Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And this is a recap of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 2. God, it feels like it's been a long season already. New Eden. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Star Trek fans. Again, I am sorry. I am not a fan of the show, and this doesn't help at all. So I'm good. The way we're going to do these things is I have a video review that I will put out later tomorrow. So I'll give you a brief recap, and I mainly just want to hear what you guys thought of the episode. If you saw the episode, because it is behind a paywall and not a lot of people are watching this show. That I can tell you. Exact numbers, they're low. That's all I can say is they're low. How is everybody doing tonight? Okay. So we start out for one. Now we know what a Star Trek episode would look like if it were directed by Michael Bay, because it was astonishing how many times they cut. There is a conversation between Tilly and Stamets, and I think I counted 10 cuts within one conversation. The camera doesn't stand still. I need to take Dramamine to watch this show. Okay, I know I sound like an old man, but like dial it back. I would take lens flares over the constant moving of the camera and these ridiculous hyperkinetic cuts that are going on. It's really hard to keep track, but it makes you think there's really something going on when there really isn't. Biggest problem with this episode is, I have to go back and watch it again to look for any serious canon violations. I'm going to just talk about it as an episode of television, as an entertaining or lack thereof entertainment of television, because this story was so crammed and rushed and meaningless that I don't even know where to go with this one, because this is the type of Star Trek episode where it'll be pretty much all about the away mission. And it feels like we spent no time. So it was called New Eden. And we start the episode with a Spock voiceover. And we find out immediately that Spock he's institutionalized right now on Starbase 5. He committed himself. He didn't tell his family members. He's had a bit of a thing going on. He's, had a little nervous Vulcan breakdown of some kind, probably related to the Red Angel. They end up, Mikey, Spock, and Pike have a conversation, and she is about to tell him that she saw the Red Angel, and then she lies about it. So we get another red signal, and it's from deep space, and they are not able to get there via warp. So they decide to bring up the tardigrades again. And even though they don't show a tardigrade, even though they mention them, I just think of Anas Abdeen. Don't you? I think of Anas Abdeen. So that whole we're dropping the tardigrade thing meant they're just dropping the tardigrade, but they're not dropping some of the other stuff. So I hope Anas is paying attention to season 2 as well. At least Pike jokes about it a little bit. He's like, are you serious about this tardigrade thing? So I thought that was a little bit funny. So I'm glad that they have a sense of humor about it, and hopefully they don't lose everything and get their ass sued off by Anas Abdeen, but I kind of hope they do. So they have to use the spore drive to jump out to this planet that they get out to, and they find life signs on it, and they see a church, and it's a bunch of humans down there, and there's no way there could be somebody that far in the beta quadrant. It turns out that they are survivors from World War III. And somehow their church just blinked there. So before we even go ahead, it seems like the Red Angel we're getting some Doctor Who here. So the red, you know how the TARDIS doesn't go where the Doctor wants to go; it goes where he needs to go. Well, it kind of looks like they're doing something very similar with Star Trek here, and the Red Angel is just going to for I guess every episode this season, the Red Angel is going to take the Discovery where it needs to go. We have more of Captain Mikey Spock on the bridge. I have a bad feeling this is pretty much how it's going to be for Pike the rest of the season. He's just going to serve as somebody else. Mikey Spock can correct and tell what to do and make a better person. We had a scene where Tilly was wishing Michael Burnham was there to tell her what to do. I don't know how anybody finds her an interesting character whatsoever. She is annoying. She's annoying and unlikable, and that's how she's written. I'm not saying that's Sonequa Martin Green. That is strictly the writing of the show, which is god awful. It's awful. So we rush down to this planet, which we don't spend much time on. In other Star Trek, in good Star Trek, we would get down to the planet. Picard or Kirk or whoever would get to know the townspeople, and we'd have a little scene where we get to know somebody's names, and that is the modus operandi with Star Trek Discovery. Is they rush past crap so much you can't remember any. I remember Jacob. They have the All Mother too, so it's a religious society. It doesn't at the time it doesn't look like they have any power. And it's a hodgepodge of all the religions. It's a smorgasbord of religions, from anything from Christianity to Wicca. And yes, so they were survivors of World War III, and apparently that church just blinked from Earth to this planet, Terralisium. They called it Terralisium. And it's a lot like Earth, except it's got some radioactive rings around it, some ion rings, some tachyon rings. We'll just call them tachyon rings. Some sort of a quantum tachyon field thing that they're going to do. They also have the asteroid on board, which is the dark matter asteroid, which can fluctuate gravity whenever it wants to. Tilly takes a sample out, and one of the samples crushes one of the tables, but then she's able to capture another sample, and it doesn't crush her, but it blows her across the room, and she gets knocked out. Where Saru goes and chews her out for going and doing that alone. But the reason she was doing it is she's trying to get the dark matter to work with the mycelium network, so they don't have to hook it up to Stamets anymore. Because when Stamets goes in there, he sees Hugh. He tells this to Tilly, that he's either seeing a vision or Hugh is actually alive in the network in some way, kind of like the Nexus. A little bit from Generations. Lots of mixed up stuff here. So we have these two scenes, and the more interesting one is the asteroid dark matter one. They go down to the planet, and everything's just rushed. Everything's just absolutely rushed. So they rush down to the planet, and they find out it's a religious, not a cult, but it's a religious group, and there's about 11,000 people on this planet. And they shouldn't be there. They have no technology. There's no signs of ships. And of course, they have to adhere to the Prime Directive. So even though they are from Earth, and Pike is adamant about this, even though Mikey Spock thinks that they should be allowed to go home because they think their Earth is destroyed, but it actually is. Jacob is very curious. He ends up getting them down in a basement and uses a flash grenade or whatever on them to knock them out, and then lock them in the basement and steal all their stuff to prove. Apparently, he's descended from scientists, and they have known that their Earth might have survived World War III, and they've had a distress call out. So that's what the Discovery heard when they first got to the planet. They heard this distress call in a loop, and what it actually was the last moments of the church before the church zapped to Terralisium. So it turns out that the tachyon ion, whatever quantum field that's around the planet is degrading, and it is about to destroy the planet. And that is why the Red Angel brought Discovery there. And they just automatically jump to that conclusion because it's the second time the Red Angel has taken them somewhere. So they're like, oh, it's obviously telling us to be here, so it's divine. Okay, let's go. So they decide to use the dark matter asteroid as a magnet to pull all the rings. I guess the rings field. So it's like it's a bunch of asteroids. So they're gonna use it as a magnet. And I guess they can control the gravity in this thing now. It was fluctuating, but now they can control it. But when they need to, I guess, and they're able to pull all the asteroids away and the rings away from the planet to save everybody with the fluctuating dark matter thing that they don't really understand. And somehow those don't get pulled into the ship or anything because, we all know that would never happen because it's Michael Burnham's ship. So, hey, I'm no scientist, but I've watched The Expanse, and I just don't think shit works like that. Okay, I'm just saying. And so they save the planet. Everything's great, and they find out that when the church blinked over at the end of World War III, there was a camera on one of the helmets, but it's broken. So Jacob is on to them, by the way, down on the planet, the away mission, which is Pike. God, I can't pronounce her name, and Michael Burnham. And they're able to escape the basement, and they confront Jacob, who stole all their equipment. He's like, hey, I just want you to prove that Earth is there, but Pike has to stick to the prime directive. Then a little girl picks up a phaser and fires it up, and Pike has to jump, and he jumps on it, and he gets blown up a little bit. So the Discovery saves the planet. They adhere to the prime directive, even though Jacob knows what's up. He even sees them beam away. Pike ends up being okay because we know what happens to him later. And Michael Burnham talks to him about the Red Angel. She finally comes clean about the Red Angel and says she saw it. And they have a discussion about Jacob, and he knows everything, so we should kind of throw him a bone. So Pike beams back down, breaks the prime directive, and tells Jacob that yes, Earth is there. It's a galactic federation of planets, and but I can't take you. But he trades him a battery. But I guess they used to have power, and they don't have anymore. So he trades him a battery for the World War III soldier's helmet, so they could look at the footage. And the footage is what we've seen in the trailer over and over again. Inside the church, there's some panic, and I guess the bombs are falling, and the angel arrives and blinks the church away, and Pike has seen the video footage. So for all the action-y things that happened in this episode, it just felt like nothing happened. They got the reason the meteor or the dark matter chunk was on the Discovery was to use it to save the planet that the Red Angel knew about. So the Red Angel is going to be guiding Discovery throughout the season, I imagine, and that's going to be the big mystery. I still think the Red Angel is probably Michael Burnham. I guess I could be wrong about that, but it was just a nothing episode of god awful Star Trek Discovery. Are people going to like this episode? I don't know. People like, listen, I don't hate Michael Bay. Michael Bay's done a couple movies that I like, but this was like Michael Bay turned to 11. I think Jonathan Frakes directed this episode. Did I hear that correctly? I'm not sure, but it was just, I couldn't tell if there was any canon violations because everything was moving so damn fast, and it just was one thing to another. Usually with good storytelling, something will make sense and lead to the next course of action. This was just like, okay, here comes action scene number 1, and we have to have some dialogue in between here, and then action scene number 3. So we could see where all the money was spent. I mean, the special effects look great for a TV show. They look great. They look very expensive, but it's still blurry and shaky camera and swinging camera and cutting scenes in the middle of sentences. And it's just, there it goes. Let's get to the chat here. And it looks like we're going to get the Klingons. We're going to get the Klingons next week. So that'll be interesting. And Georgiou is going to return next week. I wonder when we're actually going to see Spock. I thought they would wait a while. I didn't think we'd see Spock right away. I figure we'll see him at the end of next episode, maybe. Do we care? I don't know. But I hope everybody is doing great tonight. And Ed Brewer, what's up? High quality sci-fi at its finest. Thank you, STD. Yes. Yeah, man, it is just something else. Well, only 13 episodes to go. Hey Gary, how you doing tonight? And I'm a big fan of Anson Mount. He was great as hell on Wheels. He plays a good Christopher Pike. Filthy News, he's okay. I don't have a problem with Anson Mount, and yes, indeed. Hell on Wheels is a damn fine show. And he's been in bad shows before though. I liked him in the Inhumans. He's okay, but he seems like, yeah, this whole, yeah. Well, I need to see the season play out. He was, again, like, if I had to point out a positive, it would be him from the last two shows. And I'm honestly am surprised that they haven't announced a spinoff for him. But I think we know why. It's going to be a typical CBS lawsuit. They will delay. They will keep throwing garbage at the court till the court costs force a settlement. Roger Rabin, that's usually the MO of any big company to do that. But I think it might be a little bit of a different situation with Anas Abdin. I don't know this for a fact, but I would guess that he had some people willing to work. I don't know how much money he's actually paying out right now. What's up, Bazopoulos? Yes. Okay. The Orville is next. The Orville is next. Target Jedi says they are trying to course correct. All they need to do, all they have to do is kill the Klingon, or fix the Klingons and kill Mikey. And I have already said, listen, just get rid of Mikey Spock. Every time I hear her say, my brother, I would have almost been able to buy the relationship if it was estranged. Like maybe they had a childhood together for a few years and then they were apart and never spoke to each other again. I can buy that. That actually happens. But they were close at one time. Something emotional happened between the two. She is talking. How in the hell are they going to explain? I know the answer to this question, but there's no way they're going to be able to explain that her being Spock's sister in a way that Star Trek fans will buy it. Okay, I am looking forward to the explanation of this. Unless it's just in another world. Just kidding. Coming Terra Ethium. Yes. The Church of the Tardigrade. Oh, man. How is the impact of Tilly's dead friend who died in 2252 is going to affect Tilly? How is it going to? I don't know. Obviously, it's the Red Angel giving her visions. STD is fantasy, not sci-fi. Well, yeah. No, that was not a good episode of television. That was not. I mean, again, I didn't see any blatant canon violations. I'm sure I missed a couple, but that was not good storytelling at all. Not in the least bit. It was, maybe it's, God, it's like it's been said before, it's storytelling for people who aren't really paying attention to the TV. It's, if you're half paying attention to what's going on, you could keep what's going on. But if you're sitting there with some notes, right? So in comparison, I watch Counterpart. I'll fill out, 3 or 4 or 5 pages of notes. With STD, I filled out one. They went to the planet. They met the All Mother. The All Mother said hello. Everybody was welcome. There was no tension between them. They weren't like, you're not from the North. There was nothing that they just accepted them in, no problem. And they had the little thing with Jacob, and that was it. There was no tension. There was no drama. There was a lot of flashy lights, and that's what this is. That's what Kurtzman does. That's what J.J. Abrams does. They make things look real pretty with no substance whatsoever. Mark Lazarth, exactly. How could Burnham hold the dark matter last week when a sample crushed a table? Well, she's Michael Burnham. Mark Lazarth. Duh, she's Michael Burnham. See, it's the same reason she can see the angel, because her heart is open enough. Only the angel will only come to those whose hearts are open enough, even though she lied to her captain. She came clean, which is good, but they can't do anything without ripping off everything. And then, well, that's Kurtzman's MO too. I would really love to see a Star Trek with this kind of budget in good hands. That would be something to behold. It really would. But if it was in good hands, they wouldn't need that big a budget. They would be able to work and half the budget and still have a good enough show. What's up, Gamer Gambit? How's it going? uh, uh 250. What's up, Mary Ashmead? How you doing? Star Trek Destructory, exactly. Orville. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that next. Star Trek Disgracery is my favorite. Yes, I'm doing another video on this too. Michael Burnham has the latest plot armor. Yeah, she's very fashionable. Robot Rob Slowbone. She always has the latest plot armor. It's really in this season. If the dark matter had that effect, it would have pulled the whole ring apart. It would have pulled the ship apart. You couldn't even have the damn thing on the ship. So even if it's got fluctuating gravity, that would F with the ship. But I don't know. It's red matter. I've been saying we're going to get like a version of red matter, but I was wrong on this one. It's dark matter, but it's going to act as the same thing. The red matter from Star Trek 2009, the Rambaldi device, of course. It is J.J. Abrams' ex machina substance. That's what it is. $4.99. Pondibus Maximus. Hail Neurotic. Thank you for suffering through Star Trek, the next cancellation, so we don't have to. My pleasure. Live long and prosper. I will do that for you. Yes, there has been some news, folks. While I go through the chat, Insider told me it's panic. Panic is the word that I heard. Based on the views. Now, we all heard that ridiculous Deadline article. One thing I did miss that I believe the DJD show pointed out, Robot Rob, tell me if because I'm not into the reality TV, but I heard that Big Brother premiered this weekend too on CBS All Access, and that gets numbers. That has a following. That has a serious following. Actually, I heard last year that Big Brother did better than Star Trek Discovery. So thank you for the $10 super chat. Lloyd, what's up? $10. Here's a thought on how she can be constantly think of Spock as her brother. She was Spock's first mind meld. And it was more an accident than a controlled mind meld. Okay. What did I say at the end of last year when I knew Spock was going to come in? That my prediction was that she would find Spock, make Spock a better Spock, and then she would realize that it would be so soul crushing for Spock that she made Spock a better Spock, that she would mind meld him, even though she's human. But I guess she can, so I guess whatever. To forget about her, so he wouldn't feel so emasculated. George B. Pryor, $5 Australian. G'day from Melbourne. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I only found your channel recently, but it's quickly becoming a favorite. Kudos on all of your success. George, thank you. Welcome to Nerdrotic. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad you found me. I hope to continue. I hope to, keep up the, not to let you guys down. I don't want to let you guys down. Church on a Rock. Hashtag Church on a Rock. Hey, Tarka Jedi's in Australia too. George, you guys know each other? I bet you're neighbors because it's not a big country at all. I don't think the Orville had one bad episode, says CG Project SFX. It's had subpar episodes. I don't think it's had a bad episode. On the other hand, I don't think Star Trek Discovery's had a good episode. I will say this. Season 2 is a definite improvement on season 1. It is. And it's probably because of Pike. We'll see if Rebecca Romaine Stamos, when she, I always say Rebecca Romaine Stamos, it kills me those kids aren't together again. Isn't it sad? Um, as a number one, apparently Pike is going to be leaning heavily on strong women this season. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how it turns out. It just feels the same as Doctor Who season 11. First couple episodes, people are like, you're being too hard on it, man. And I really wasn't in the first two episodes. But then around episode 4, people are going, okay, this sucks. Hey, things could turn around. Beep, beep. What's up, KS? Guns are bad. People, according to, yes, guns are bad. No, they're not. People are bad. Those are my dogs. STD is an STD upon a real ST. Yes, it is. It is Star Dude 2006. Mark Holmes says STD is fantasy, not sci-fi. It kind of feels like, well, that's where they wanted to go. That's Rob's in here. That's what Midnight's Edge reported many moons ago, that they wanted it to be more like Star Wars than Star Trek. So, oh, wait a minute. I got to get down on this chat here. Okay, improvement on season 1 is a very low bar. Yeah, and I said in my first review video, Robot Shlomo, it was like using natural spring water for waterboarding as opposed to just tap. Let's put it this way: the Orville's most subpar episode is still way better than anything STD has produced for half the price. For half the price. If a Spock, and a Spock does Spock, do Spock, Mr. Trill, no, he Spocks the Spock, and then he Spocks back to the Spock, and then Mikey Spock Spocks everybody. Check Spock. The Orville won me over with Majority Rule. Yeah. I liked About a Girl, but Majority Rule is an outstanding episode. Hail KSS. Hail to you, sir. I didn't think the episode. Thank you, James Roby. $5. I didn't think the episode was bad. What if they got rid of Michael? If they got rid of Michael, we can talk. We could totally talk. I think that if we got rid of Michael and Kurtzman and they brought in a real screenwriter, yeah, I think this would be fixable. Sure. Listen, Doug Jones is a good actor. I love Doug Jones. Oh God, the guy who plays Stamets. I'm forgetting his name now. He can act. I mean, it's the people producing the show. I wouldn't put it all on Sonequa Martin Green. It is the people who produce the show. It's the same fundamental problem with Doctor Who. It's just piss poor writing. And you have people in there who just have no science fiction experience whatsoever. Gilmore Girl writers, okay? With Doctor Who, it was EastEnder writers and political playwrights. And it shows. It shows. I don't know. Captain Jesse One, I don't know why Saru has Michael Burnham should never she got a freaking medal. She got a medal for ending the war she started. Did we ever get a death toll of what the Federation Klingon War? Like how many people died? Gamer Gambit, $5. Orville touches real life and modern day situations without becoming preachy, annoying, boring, or single-sided. The cast is very well picked as well. Yes, it's a great cast. It's a crew. It feels like a family. You feel like you know them. And yeah, Discovery, we're just learning the crew's name. They did a roll call last week, for crap's sake. And yes, they have a female robot, which they, yes. Well, hey, actually, she's the coolest looking thing in the show is the female robot thing. I said that last season. She's absolutely the coolest looking thing in the show. She gets a couple lines here and there. I think I learned her name this week and then quickly forgot it. Right. And I got some super chats to catch up on. So let me do that real quick. William Jenkins, Shaky Cam was only good on Battlestar 2003, in my opinion. Agreed, William, 100%, because it was done for an aesthetic, and it was still pretty new back then too. I can't tell you who's doing worse, CBS or Disney. Ooh, man, I got to put that one up to a vote. It depends on the day, William. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the $5. Tyler X2F01. The asteroid is made of pletholium. A Canadian super chat. It's a Canadian super chat with Canadian $2. And TK, sometimes watching Discovery equals self-flagellation. Yes. Well, yeah, it does. STD does flare up once in a while. It's a little itchy. It's a little itchy sometimes too. But I was going to go full on and call this show STD Live and put it on the thumbnail, but YouTube probably wouldn't like that very much. They're already starting to. I was curious about that, and I got to talk to the YouTubers about that because CBS is advertising heavily on YouTube. So I'm wondering if that's going to stymie some videos or not. Michelle Yao is also a reason to watch STD. She's awful, KZ Bay. She's terrible. I love her. I do. She is great. She's not right for this role. I think as for Captain Georgiou in the beginning, I think that would have been a well-developed character eventually with good writers. I think she could have handled that. But as Mere Emperor Captain Georgiou, I've already told you my analogy on that. It's like your mom, and she dressed up as a madam for Halloween, and she's trying to act that pretend sexy, but not too much, around the kids. That's the way I see it. Plot holium. Oh, okay. I couldn't even read. Thank you very much, Penn Farm Girl. I'm an idiot sometimes. What can I say? Listen, I gotta give props to that. To the plot. You see, yeah, plot holium. Sorry, Tyler X. I suck. Hey, it's live, folks. Carl Manvers. I love the noises the robot girl makes when she moves. Very sexy. Yeah, she makes like these purry noises. Yeah, I'm down with you. That's a good thing in Star Trek Discovery. The robot girl's sexy purry sound effects when she walks by. Robot Rob Shlomo says it's a bullshitium. Crapolium? Can I get a crapolium? An obtinium, yes. Jesus Christ. JPRPH1499 episode very choppy and poorly written. Wonder what Mr. Sci-Fi will say. He has been so on point with his reviews in a very generous way. JPRPH1, you are correct, and I actually recommend you watch Mr. Sci-Fi's reviews of Star Trek Discovery. That is an actual sci-fi writer who's actually written Star Trek Discovery and one of the best companion source books ever, The Twilight Zone Companion. Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi. And he seems like just a nice guy. So yeah, I like watching his channel quite a bit. And he's working on Space Command right now. He's working on a crowdfunded show that he's trying to get picked up. And I wish him all the luck in the world. Daniel, $5. Don't have a question. Just like supporting my favorite adherent to true escapism. Daniel, thank you so much. I appreciate your support, and I will continue to try to protect our escapism. Christ, people, is that asking so much? Can I turn my brain off once in a while, please? Jesus. Okay. And we're going to get to a couple. So my review, my video review, getting into the weeds and getting into the details and stuff, will be out tomorrow morning. I have another Rotten Tomatoes video that was supposed to drop today, but time got away from me. So that will be dropping tomorrow morning as well. and I will be doing the Orville next. I have to watch the episode, and right after I'm done watching it, I will be back live talking about the Orville. I am very happy to be doing that. We will be back for Star Trek. As it stands right now, Star Trek will maintain priority for a little while, but I believe probably around halfway through the season, I'm going to switch the order and do the Orville first for a little while, but not right now. Not right now. So I hope everybody is doing well. Please go to nerdrotic.com. That's where our live schedule. Now, the name change is coming soon, folks. It's coming very soon. As soon as I drop that RT video, that's when I'm going to change the name, and hopefully it doesn't bugger the algorithm. I don't think it will, but you never know. You never know. All right, everybody. So thanks for showing up. You guys are brilliant. And yeah, I know there's a lot of people going live after this. Hey, I used to do this all alone, all by myself. I'd be the only one talking about Star Trek Discovery live. Now I have company. That is brilliant. That is a good thing. And it's always good, to hear different opinions on it. So yeah, go check everybody out. And the thing is, these are videos too, so you can always watch me or somebody else later. It all works. Build a space wall. Jesus. Enemy mine to demand it. All right. Hit like only 80 out of 400 did. Oh yeah, please hit that like button. It does help a lot. Please hashtag watch counterpart. It is a good show. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe. And if you didn't, well, hey, thanks for listening anyway. Everybody, yeah, have a good night. I'll see you in about an hour for the Orville. Live long and prosper.